This is the Realty Classroom Podcast, episode number 193 with a special report. What to do in a crashing housing market. Are you a real estate agent who wants to turn your job into a real estate business without sacrificing your lifestyle, but you just can't seem to find a plan or any plan to help you get there? Well, then, hey, you are definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Realty Classroom and the host of this podcast. And to help you take immediate action to get started in the right direction, I've created a free jumpstart course for you that's waiting at freeagentgift.com. You can jump over there and get it. Free course, get you started in a strategic direction. Man, did I wish somebody put me in that direction many years ago. Had to learn all this the hard way. You don't have to. freeagentgift.com. So in this episode, what we'll cover is what to do in a crashing housing market. That's what's happening right now as I'm recording this, okay? So let's talk about the first point here. Rule number one. It's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie moment. Never panic, right? Don't panic. In fact, do the opposite. Get excited when the real estate market corrects. Because think about this. In the increasing crazy market that we're experiencing as of the recording of this episode here, it's probably been about a 10-year run. I thought it was over a couple years ago, and then when COVID hit, I really thought it was over, and then all of a sudden this quantitative easing and the government stepping up and interest rates going to the floor and people being more open to spending money in beautiful places where I do business like Cape Cod and luxury going crazy, average price going from $577 all the way up to over $1 million for the last 3 months. That's stunning. It's not normal. It's abnormal. It's out of control. It's a perfect storm, and it was wonderful, and we took advantage of it, and we had the systems in place to do so. Regardless of the thin inventory, I had no problem getting it. And I'm going to give you some of those tips here on how I'm going to even use them more so in a crashing market. I've actually been waiting for this. I don't like crazy hot markets because it is tougher to exhibit quality and professionalism because anybody really that gets the listing, as long as they're close on the price, they can catch the rising tide. So I don't panic. I do the opposite. I lick my chops. I'm ready to go. My professional approach can now stand out. So if you watch what's happening in the stock market, that has corrected violently quickly. If you haven't been paying attention, technology, all the FANG stocks, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, that's what FANG stands for. All of those stocks have been under pressure, and those are some big names. I mean, Facebook fell through the bottom of the floor. I bought some. Google fell through the bottom of the floor. I bought some. Amazon. I mean, these things got crushed. And if you look at, and if you go read about these companies, they're making enormous amounts of cash throw off. I'm not saying that they won't get hurt here, and I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just telling you what I did. This is my experience, okay? Well, when I saw that, of course I know the asset class of real estate's going to follow. It just moves like a big fat elephant behind the stock market, which moves very quickly. So of course we're going to get asset price correction. I mean, come on, just don't be so naive. Everything gets affected. Don't stick your head in the sand. So I don't panic. I get excited for the opportunity. And the nice news is we have a buyer and a seller, so that pendulum always swings in favor of one versus the next. Now, I don't like sellers to panic either, because if you give me good product, and that means clean and have it ready for me to go, then I'm going to do the best that I can to keep you in a spot where we're going to do the best we can given the market circumstances, assuming that you need to sell. That's what I'm looking at. So I don't want to panic. I don't want my sellers panicking. So off we go, right? But how I got my way through the crazy marketplace was I continued to know, as an experienced veteran in this business, that even when the market's rising, there are always expireds, cancels, withdrawns. What happened? I mean, how in the world could they go wrong? Well, because we specialize in helping those people, we know what went wrong. Oftentimes, they didn't get the advice they needed, especially around pricing. People buy a listing by overstating the price, and then they duck out for 6 months. I have a seller who's talking to me about that right now. They're very upset trying to get out of a contract. They had me come and assess the situation and try to give them some guidance, which is always touchy when it's an active listing. But they're getting bad advice, and they miss the market. I mean, they missed the market. No advice, bad advice. So expireds were abounding then, but can you imagine? Expired listings will really abound now. So I'm ready to help them because I was a veteran of already helping by giving away my best what to do information for free through a telemarketing offer was getting me in the house. Well, now we have more of those contacts. So, for example, as I record this, my Boston market, we pay attention to those expireds, obviously, on a weekly basis. Well, typically you would see 5 expired listings, 56 last week. 56. A lot of those were rentals, but a very significant portion of it were listings. In fact, there were so many listings that we gave each of our telemarketer 7 new listings, and that's worth an enormity in property value. So they're abounding right in front of us. And we're ready to go, and we're on it. Now, a lot of those people will completely withdraw. They'll just say, well, I got to ride this out. It's too late. I have to keep this now because I'm upside down or whatever. There'll be some of those stories, but there will be people saying, my gosh, all I wanted to do was move. And we'll be encouraging, and we'll be ready to help. And we'll bring the data, and we'll bring the math, and we'll show them what's really happening, how it could really affect them, because what they also have to know is, yes, there's a correction, but that doesn't stop the market. The market doesn't stop. How do you know that if you're a real estate agent? Go into your MLS, go back and look at your statistics for sales at the median price and above 2010, 2011, 2012. Those are all the very difficult years that after the market collapsed, late 2009, it echo affected those years, right? So you can see. But what I learned when I went back and did that study, I didn't need to panic and rush to distress sales or get into the foreclosure business because there were plenty. Everything just shifted down in value. The median price came down, but there were still people buying and selling because people have a real need to buy and sell. Especially people that are older. They're like, hey, look, it is what it is. I still need to downsize. I know I'm getting less, but I'm paying less, okay? So I feel good about it. But plus, I don't have any choice because I'm in a situation where I can't take care of this anymore. I can't afford to take care of this anymore. There are a lot of reasons. So expired listings abound anytime, but even more so in a crashing market. So on the listing side, there are people who really need good guidance right now. Be the persons. The next one is obviously on the buy side, there are smart buyers, really smart buyers who are patient and have been waiting for the crash. I'm one of them. I would really like to buy myself a small condo in Boston now that my kids are out of the house and my wife and I would like to spend some more time up there. We've already downsized on Cape Cod where we live primarily and we raise them. And I want to buy, but I just will not buy in a rising tide. I'm in the business. I'm a veteran. Unless I get lucky and I stumble upon a real anomaly because I'm an expert and I'm after it, I've been waiting for this. And I'm going to let it correct because I, as a professional, am obviously a smart buyer. But there are a lot of people who are financially savvy and they do enough homework and they understand that there's a frenzy. And right now, it's a very interesting time at the recording of this podcast. There's an interesting time where I coach my Realty Classroom Mastermind coaching members. Those are the one-on-one privates I have. I coach them that this is like a storm. It's a hurricane that's passing overhead. And right now, me and a lot of them are experiencing an eerie quiet. To go from so busy and multiple offers and all this craziness to a very, very quiet spot. It's like the eye of the storm passing over. Well, there'll be plenty of activity on the back end of the storm. Only, you're right, the leverage will have gone to the buy side. The pendulum will swing. Now, I am always hesitant to call something a seller or buyer's market. Here's why. If a seller has really good property priced right in any market, they're in a good spot because there are always buyers, right? But of course, the momentum will swing to the buy side where the buyers can be patient. They can negotiate more. In fact, I know this so well that I'm dealing with a buyer that we just stopped negotiating. Seller was being absurd on a very high-end property, over $50,000, which got him out of a mistake he made when buying it. So we'll just sit there and wait. Let it come to us. And if not, we'll find another one repriced even better that will offer the same features because the market will come to us. So there's no panic on the buy side. So see, smart buyers have been waiting for this and they're going to be patient, and you want to be with them. You want to advise them. You want to be the one making the noise about the percentage of the correction and what's happening. So at the time of this recording of this podcast, I just finished my market update and I gave the advice about what's happening right now, told everybody what to look for. And I'm going to get that piece of content up and I'm going to promote it, put some money behind it in Facebook Ads Manager to have a talking billboard that I know what I'm talking about in a crisis. For sellers and buyers, come to me. And the last part of this podcast today is to trust your plan. I just gave you a simple plan. Of course, you need to work it a little bit for yourself and get organized, but trust your plan. Everybody panics and everybody looks around. What's this person doing? Just serve people. And again, if you think everything just falls apart, it goes to distress sales and bank foreclosure and all that crap. I was taught that in the last recession. It's crap. It's a mistake. It's nonsense. Don't get me wrong. Some of you out there are excellent at broker price opinions, foreclosures. You deal with banks super well and you can make a profit off. Awesome. God bless you. You play a significant role in our industry to clean up the mess. Wonderful. It's not for me. I'd rather stay median and above, and I'd rather give my advice and insight to people, my guidance, fiduciary responsibility, folks, trusted advisor. And I really take that seriously. I want to give it to people who are going to listen to it, do what I ask them to do, so they can get what they want and I can get what I want and I can stay profitable in a market like this. Even though everything's going to shift down, so the absolute dollar's smaller, it's still going to be profitable. Very simple plan that I have, and I continue to execute it. In fact, I tell my team, my outbound callers, I said, stay patient. If you can't get people on the phone, double the number of calls because you have more time because you're not talking to people. Triple them, whatever it is, but trust our plan. Because in the course of 52 weeks, that eye of the storm passes and all new opportunity crops up relatively quickly. It doesn't take long for things to swing through. So you have these, Wall Street, you'll hear, if you listen to CNBC, you would have heard it more like a month ago or so, inflection point. Well, mathematically, if you Google it, it's sort of a point where the curvature of a flow starts to change. So we're at an inflection point per se. And really, in real estate, an inflection point is really where the market gets real quiet for a minute or two, and whatever that means, month, 60 days. It gets real quiet as people adjust to a new reality, as they're able to assimilate all this new information about what it means. So while it's quiet, make more noise. Make more noise. Make more noise. Be the one that's at the forefront. And this is where contents like this that I'm giving you, I'm going to make more noise during the housing crisis. I'm going to get you this special report. Typically, I'm giving you some stuff that I'm coaching. This is what to do in a housing, crisis. And I'll take this piece of content transparently and I'll put this on Facebook and I will get it out to real estate agents. It's a freebie. I'm not looking for anything out there other than to expand my brand. And if I pick up a new high-end coaching member, wonderful. That's great. But I'm not going to panic about that in the meantime. I'm going to just get the content out there because it's timely. I want you to be timely. Get the timely information out there with a market update. All right, let me go back and summarize. I'm in a special report this week for the TRC, what to do in a crashing housing market. Rule number 1, Arnold Schwarzenegger, never panic, right? Rule number 2, expired listings will abound in a crashing market. Be ready to help those sellers. Some of them will be permanently withdrawing from trying to sell, but there are many others that still have to sell. Get in there, root around and help those people. 3, smart buyers, really smart buyers, have been waiting for this. I mean, all the overly exuberant buyers, way overpaid probably, compared to what they could have gotten in about 60 days from now. Get talking to those smart buyers. Broadcast your message to them. Hey, smart buyers, are you out there? This is what you've been waiting for. Create a piece of content. Get it out there. Push it around that reminds them. And of course, as you develop a plan around helping these sellers who are under, sort of stress at this moment and helping the smart buyers, that's the beginnings of a plan for a changing market. Trust the plan. and continue to execute. Get the word out. When it's quiet, make more noise. Let me summarize it this way. The real estate housing market is clearly in a major correction. Call it a crash, call it a recession, whatever you want to call it. It's correcting, okay? While most people are focused on market data that tells them what happened 60 to 90s ago, pre-correction. Think about what I'm saying. If you're looking at the average price and this, yes, those were deals that were consummated a while ago when the market was still good, when interest rates were still low and people were locked in, and they close and they get reported on 60 to 90 days later. So what I want you to focus on is what's happening right now. As real estate agents, what's right now? So here's what you do. Stay focused on the increase in expired listings. Get in your MLS and watch expired listings on a weekly basis in your marketplace and get to those people. Find those people that just expired and help them navigate the change, even if you're just giving them information and you're updating them. Also, although the market's been hot for buyers and a lot of them have gobbled up properties already, many really smart buyers have been waiting for a correction, so start calling out to them as well. Trust your plan, don't panic, and make a lot of noise around good updates about what's really happening right now. All right, remember, you can take immediate action and get started in the right direction with our free simple business plan that's waiting for you at freeagentgift.com. That'll structure this. So if you don't have a plan and you say, no, I wish I have one for you, freeagentgift.com. The most important part of it, there's a download PDF that shows you structurally how I run my business, how I coach all these mega top producers on how to turn their jobs into really good businesses with a simple formula that we give the Griffin agents who are new to the business. The bones are the bones, folks. Freeagentgift.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen. We also post our content on YouTube. So don't forget, you can subscribe to the Realty Class YouTube channel. All of these video podcasts are put up there. So if you're working out, you're running around, you can run through a couple of them, and you can keep in that mode of always be learning, ABL. We'd also appreciate it, of course, if you'd share the content with other real estate agents who are like you, trying to learn a little bit more, and they get the help that they need as well. But remember this, folks, we sign off the same way every single time. Nobody's coming for you. Nobody is coming for you. So go get to work on your own business, and we'll see you in the next episode of trying to help you do just that. Thanks again.